A full week of Houston Texans training camp has led to the emergence of Kenyon Green. Big Sarge is going to tell us why Green is in for a big year in year 3.
You are Locked On Texans, your daily podcast on the Houston Texans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers, to this Friday episode of the Locked On Texans podcast, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day in training camp, inside of Texans Training Camp. That's why you guys are here. I'm your Texans football analyst, John, some sports guy Hickman. On the other side of the screen, Texans credential media member, Sports Illustrated's own T. Davis. Thank you to all of our first-time listeners and viewers. Please just do us 3 favors as you come on in the house. Subscribe, like, and comment to the Locked On Texans podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. But we don't do this show without you every day, so shout out to you guys coming back to continue to listen to Cody and myself talk Texans. We got a guest today, Brian Big Sarge Barefield. Welcome to the show. Before we bring you on in, Cody, let's get the rundown. Take it away.
Yes, sir. On this Friday installment of Locked On Texans, you guys heard the voice. You guys see the smile. We got Brian Big Sarge Barefield here today from Big Sarge Media LLC, as he's going to take us and give his own thoughts about the first week of Houston Texans training camp. Big Sarge, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, what's going on? I'm glad y'all had me back. It feels like, I guess since it's like, in the summer, is this like the family reunion? I feel like we get together every year around this time for like the family reunion. So, I feel like I'm at home.
Look, I'm glad that you feel like you're at home.
It's the family reunion.
Inside joke, by the way, inside joke. But, the Houston Texans did not hold training camp practice on Thursday, but we did have an opportunity to see the first full week. Sarge, I know you have a lot to talk about from the defense, talk about CJ, but I want to start off talking about Kenyon Green, because ever since the start of OTAs, when we saw him for the very first time since like August of 2023, we were in awe about how this young man transformed his body. We have seen him hold his own against a very good defensive line, and 6 days into training camp, Sarge, you can let me know if you agree. I think Kenyon Green, his development, his growth, his maturity has been one of the biggest storylines surrounding his franchise. I know you did a great article, an exclusive article on Big Sarge Media LLC, talking about Kenyon Green is ready to get back to work. And I just want you guys to listen to what Green had to say.
How were you able to keep yourself sane? Because you grew up in a football household. You grew up just playing football. How difficult was it for you not to be around the game last year when you were dealing with what you were dealing with?
It was tough. But it was a lesson. God just sat me down and I had to, mature and get myself right, from the inside and out. And I, worked my tail off, got my body right. Like now I'm ready to work, ready to compete. So that's all.
The one thing I love most about that is the fact that when I saw that clip that Sarge had posted, the first thing I said was, man, this young man, it's like his voice and his demeanor, everything about him changed. Sarge, what can you tell? Exactly. But given everything that he's gone through his first 2 years, Sarge, what can you tell us about your conversation with Green and how year 3 is going to be a career year for that young man?
One thing that I noticed about Kenyon Green when I first started talking to him was, just like you said, it seems like a different person than what I seen from his rookie year. When I first got a chance to be around him, to interact with him his rookie season, you could still tell. You could tell that he was still, young. You could tell that he was coming into the league. He was still, although he was a 2-time All-American at Texas A&M, it was still like being, a freshman on campus all over again. And so talking to him for the first time, I had interacted with him a little bit, but I hadn't gotten a chance to actually have a conversation with him. But talking with him, I can tell that he has matured. I can tell that this game means a lot to him. And all that young man has ever known is to work. And what I mean by that is, work to be the best. So what a lot of people don't know is that Kenyon Green not only went through his injury last season, but he went through a lot of personal stuff within himself and within his family. And so you're dealing with being out for the season, and now you also have to take care of some personal things, and all of that comes crashing down on a 22-year-old young man. Like, that is a lot. Look, I'm 53 years old. I can't even remember 22, but if I could, I'm pretty sure that I've been through a lot myself. And so him dealing with that, and just like he said, God had to sit him down and he had to mature. He comes from a very, very strong, Christian background. They're devout Christians, and they believe in their faith. And his father, I don't know if you remember this or not, Cody, but when we got a chance to talk to his father after his first press conference after the draft, that's all his dad was talking about: their faith, their faith, their faith. And so that was something that he had to lean back on. Now, here's another thing. A lot of people don't realize this. Kenyon got with Juice Scruggs, center Juice Scruggs, in the offseason, and they worked out together, which is one of the reasons why it looks so good starting from Shaq Mason to Juice Scruggs to Kenyon Green, because the camaraderie that Juice and Kenyon has developed, that started in the offseason, and Juice intentionally stayed here so he could work out with Kenyon, so they could go and work out at these training facilities together, so they could spend time together. And a lot of people who have been out at the training camp, like you and John have, I don't know if you all have noticed this or not, but what Kenyon is doing now for Blake Fisher, while Laramie Tunsil is not there, is the same thing that Laramie Tunsil did for him when he was a rookie, because Blake Fisher is having struggles, and who wouldn't have a struggle when every time you come to the line of scrimmage, it's either Daniil Hunter in front of you or Will Anderson Jr. Like, that is a lot to handle for a rookie. But because Kenyon knows that on his right side, that Juice is going to take care of whatever he needs to take care of, he can do his job, but also help the rookie out. And then they'll come to the sideline and they'll talk. And so I am very impressed by what I've seen in these first 6 training camp days that Kenyon Green has been out there. And you can tell somebody who's serious when you look at him. There's a lot of people that'll be like, oh, I want to transform my body. I want to get better. I want to, summer body loading or whatever the case may be. I mean, Kenyon came back. I told him during that interview, I said, hey, man, you almost look like you could play some tight end. That's how good of a shape that he's in now. He's dropped all of that college weight. He's gotten himself in shape physically, mentally, and spiritually.
I think for Green, man, it's just really important, like you said, to get out there and compete, missing a full year. And you guys have been able to see how he's been able to practice with the pad zone. I have not been able to see that yet. But what I will say is, even without the pads, one thing I took away from Green during the first couple of days of training camp was just his quickness. And I thought that was a major issue for Green his rookie year. Even at times last year during training camp before he went out with that injury, just looked like at times he was slow to the point and slow to react to stunts, different moves from the defensive line that was in front of him. So the quickness, I think, is there for Green. But overall, what Green does is be able to move bodies out the way. That's what Houston brought him to this team for. That's why Nick Caserio drafted him. If he's able to unlock that, health-wise, of course, but being able to run block and allow lanes to open up for Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, Cam Akers, who was signed earlier this week to Houston, guys are going to look at an offensive line unit that I don't want to say the best of all time, because we kind of get we say that a lot, best unit of this all time for this team. But you're going to see one of the more competitive offensive lines this team has ever had. I think Kenyon Green has the key to unlock that. And you guys will be impressed with how quick he looks. So I'm wondering, do Houston looks to, pull him more? What ways can they allow some of his athletic ability to show out? But his first thing he needs to do is just, compete like he's been doing. He's been a starter for this unit, and I think Houston is giving him every opportunity to not lose that job, but he's also giving himself that opportunity to not lose the starting position. I'm excited to see Green play, and I hope he gets a lot of meaningful reps in the Hall of Fame game. Not too much, but just to see him out there on the field, be his first time playing football in a year.
Let me throw this in there, Cody, before you go. John, I know you and I have talked about this on the side. I know Cody and I know that you all have discussed this on Locked On Texans as well. His rookie year, the defensive tackles that he was going up against,
What?
My gosh.
John, I think I heard you say it was like a gauntlet of, defensive tackles. It's like,
hey, everybody got paid that year too. Dexter Lawrence, Jonathan Allen, my man in Miami. Didn't Wilkins get paid too? Did
he? Maybe so. But I would say this is that during that year, during his rookie year, I got a chance to talk to him. He told me, he said, Sarge, this reminds me of my freshman year at A&M. He said, go back and look at the defensive tackles and defensive ends that I had to go up against because, he played the tackle position as well. I don't think a lot of people remember that. He also played against Will Anderson Jr. So, and that's the two-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year, consensus All-American. And so what Kenyon said to me when we were off the record, one thing that he said to me was, Sarge, I went back and I studied every play from my rookie season, and I watched where I made the mistakes. I watched where I was getting beat. I also watched the good things that I did. He said, so what happened to me was on-the-job learning. He said, I learned. And he said, now I use that coming into this season, knowing, okay, I know that what this defensive tackle is going to do, or I know now I can – he picks up on, like you said, John, on the stunts earlier. And it's crazy because he's going up against, a really good defense every day in practice as well.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, I do want to add this. When he was drafted, a month before that, he was 20 years old.
You got to. But Kenyon Green, the emergence of Kenyon Green is, let's say, 1/4 of some of the biggest storylines that have came out through the first 6 days of training camp. However, the biggest storyline has been this doggone defense. On the other side of the break, we're going to break down how good this defense look with Big Sarge when we come back.
Y'all don't want to go nowhere. And also, guys, I want to let you know how you can make sure your car is the MVP of the road. The winning formula for winning championships, you got passion, drive, and patience. That also keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Between superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, style, or all three, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. Don't treat your car like your side piece. Treat it like your number one ride or die. And with eBay Guarantee Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it is easy to make your car the MVP of the road and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive with ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Fit only available to U.S. customers.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to this Friday installment of Locked On Texans. Depending on when you guys hear this podcast, it might be before, during, or after, but anyway it goes, the Houston Texans will be back out there on the practice field at the Houston Methodist Training Center. And Sarge, John, I truly believe that the offense is going to make sure that they recuperate and put on a show for the fans during day 7 of training camp, because Lord have mercy, this defense, Sarge, before we start talking about individual players, I just want a quick explanation on how you feel. I think after watching them through the first 6 games, first 6 days, and I know it's early to say, and I know they are playing against a team, they already know their tendencies, they already know what the coaching staff are going to call. But as I sit there and I'm looking at this defensive line, I look at the linebacking core that's looked really, really good, even before Christian Harris has gotten on the field. And then the secondary has been better than expected to me. I look at the Houston Texans, and me and John talked about this a little bit on yesterday's show. I truly believe that the Texans can arguably be the best defensive team in the league. To that, you said what?
See this trophy that I'm holding up? For those of y'all who are on this audible adventure with us, you can't see, but I have a trophy that I'm holding up. It looks like a Emmy, a Grammy, a Tony. It looks like one of them, but
it look like a Tony, an Oscar. It's not a Grammy.
Hey man, look, let me tell you something. It's a trophy, okay? I came from Five Below. It was $2. Anyway, I'm going to give this trophy right here to the defense, and not only to the defense as a whole. I'm going to give it to D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke. Because what they are doing is not only making CJ Stroud a better quarterback by throwing different types of looks at him, but now we're starting to see the second year in this system. You're starting to see those players who are in the system. You're starting to see them develop a little bit more. I mean, you think about it. Let's just use Jalen Petrie, for example.
Oh, I'm so glad you went there.
Let's use Jalen Petrie, for example. When I was talking to him the other day, he said, I asked him, I said, Jalen, do you like contact? Because I remember your rookie year, you had a lot of tackles. He said, Sarge, I ain't running from no smoke. He said, I ain't running from no smoke. I don't mind the contact. And he said that playing in the nickel position, the way that they have him playing, gets him closer to the ball. He says, I'm willing to do whatever they want me to do. So if that's being closer to the line, or if that's being at the safety position, however they want me to play. But the way that D'Amico and Matt Burke has constructed this new defensive look, it's crazy. It's crazy because at times I haven't seen CJ Stroud frustrated since he started training camp last year.
Yep.
And
I agree.
Saturday, he was super frustrated.
Yes. And, he was frustrated last year because he was a rookie trying to learn the system, trying to learn game speed, trying to learn field of depth. This year, he's frustrated because Danielle Hunter told us in the press conference, I don't have a responsibility. My whole purpose in life when I'm on the field is to get the quarterback. So now he ain't got to read and react. All his mindset is go. You know who was on the other side of him saying go? Will Anderson Jr. And I got a chance to speak with defensive line coach Rod Wright on
great. And I do want to give you a great interview with Rod Wright, and who I love, by the way, for Houston.
Man, as a coach. Man, I had forgot. Like, I can't wait to pick his brain about. I forgot he was on the 2005 national championship team with Vince Young. Man, I'm like, wait a minute, I got to pull him to the side. But what I asked him about what he tells Will Anderson. He said, I tell Will and I tell Danielle the same thing. He said, I tell Will, hey man, I'm going to go over there and tell Danielle he needs to beat you into the backfield. Will does not like to be beat on anything. He is a competitor. So is Danielle Hunter. So he'll go over and tell Danielle, hey man, look, I told Will and Will told me to tell you that he going to beat you to the quarterback. So now when you have those two guys with their motors, and Cody, I don't know if you've picked up on this, man, it's the subtle things that you look at when we're talking about, I'm going to talk about Will Anderson Jr. real quick. You ever watched him when he's in his stance?
When that leg shaking?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like he's revving up a little bit.
Oh my God. Look. I noticed that for the first time on Tuesday, and I'm standing on the side with y'all. I got scared. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this guy?
And so when you have Hunter, when you have Anderson, and then you have that brain in the middle of Azeez Al-Shaair, who's telling everybody where to be, what to be, how to be. Not only that, now you got an aggressive Jimmy Ward that his position coach told me the other day. He said, hey man, aggressiveness is just in his DNA. And so I'm like, and I know that it seems like I'm flexing a little bit, but we got a chance to talk to the position coaches the other day. That's why I have so much knowledge. But the way Jimmy Ward is flying around, and then come on, man. I know that this young man is, a lot of people watched the clip of him getting beat by Nico Collins, but I hope people seen the clip today where I'm sorry, I hope people seen the clip that the Houston Texans put out where D'Amico was saying about Kamari Lassiter. And it's to be expected. He's a rookie going up against some very good wide receivers. But the one thing that I like about him is that he's a sponge. So as I digress, I'm saying all that to say that when that offense comes to the line of scrimmage, of course they got Nico, of course they got Tank, of course they got Diggs, of course they got, when Mixon comes back in the backfield, of course they got Mechie when he's on the field, of course a DP coming into the game. But man, that defense, and they have, here's the funny thing about it. They have D'Amico's attitude, and I love it.
Man, I want to ask you about Azeez, man. We talk a lot here about Stephon Diggs, one of the biggest moves for the offseason for Houston. Danielle Hunter was one of the bigger moves as well. But Azeez coming in, fitting into that role, right? And not a lot of opportunities at training camp so far to play alongside Christian Harris. But what are you seeing from him that can allow this defense to get creative with how they create pressure on the quarterbacks?
The main thing that Azeez is doing is he's teaching these young linebackers like Jake Hansen and Henry To'oTo'o how to play the game. And this is no shot at former Houston Texans linebacker Denzel Perryman or Blake Cashman, but they don't have what Azeez has. And the way that he plays the game, he's physical, but he's smart. He knows the angles. He knows the angles to take. It's almost like he is calling the offensive plays as well because he sees so much. And so what does players like I said, Henry To'oTo'o and Jake Hansen do? They emulate what they see.
And can I add to that just by saying Perriman and Blake Cashman, they were both on 1-year deals.
Yeah,
they were both in their contract year. It was play, and I gotta either come back or I'm going somewhere else. So that mindset, you kind of look at some of those players, and they're like, I gotta eat right now. I gotta go out there and perform. I can't lose my spot because I'm still on a trial and error opportunity right now to see if they're gonna bring me back or this is a good audition tape for somewhere else. Azeez on a 3-year deal.
Yeah,
and I don't see him not playing at least 2 of those years here in Houston. So that gives, I think, comfort to him and some of the younger guys under him, like a HT who's on a rookie deal, who's good for depth purposes, who can potentially grow into maybe something different for Houston when he gets a little bit more time in the league. But that gives both of those guys comfort as I can lean on you because we're going to be here.
Yeah. And you know what else it also is? When somebody does something for you, you never forget. Like you never forget somebody who does something for you and don't expect nothing in return. And I'm saying that, I'm prefacing it to say that, DeMeco Ryans, when he was with the 49ers, he went out, he got Azeez. He wanted Azeez. He wanted Azeez there. And now that Azeez is here, Azeez wants to be here. He wants to play for DeMeco because he never forgot that this is the coach that gave him his opportunity. This is the coach that gave him his chance. And not only that, this is a coach that played the same position that he did at a high level as well. And so for as much as Azeez knew, when he played with the 49ers, then he was with the Titans, and now he's back with DeMeco, that only heightens everything that he wants to do. And not only that, it's like, hey, look, I know what I'm going to do here in the middle, but I know Jimmy Ward behind me knows this system as well. Jimmy knows what DeMeco wants. I know what DeMeco wants. I know what DeMeco demands, but I also know that even when I come to the sideline, DeMeco is telling me. So he is the brain. He is the quarterback of that defense. But not only that, like I said, he's making To'oTo'o better, he's making Hansen better, and he's making everybody around him better. Cody, you remember when at the press conference what Will Anderson said after he had that false start and what Azeez said to him?
Oh, stop crying. Stop crying and use some choice words that we can't say right now.
Exactly. And so that's what he's doing, man. He's taking that defense up another level.
Talking about the defense, now we're going to switch over and hear from you guys to see what y'all been saying through the first 6 days of training camp. It's been a minute. More Locked On Texans when we return.
Listen, when you're hiring for your small business, for all of our small business owners out there that listens to the show, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role, whether it's an assistant manager, whether it's a waiter. No matter what it is, no matter what role you're looking for, you want to make sure that you get the right person in the building to help you in your small business. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has all the tools you need to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. On LinkedIn Jobs, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing a lot of hats and may not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com, /LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back in, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers. Before we close out today's show, Friday show of the Locked On Texans podcast, we do want to confirm that we will be back at training camp later today, this Friday, but we are taking a dive over to the YouTube comments. Zach Rose, 5129s. What y'all thinking about Akers? I like the Akers move, man.
I don't think it's much to it, to be honest with you. I think Akers, like Coach D'Amico Ryan said on Monday, they just brought him in to compete. Sarge, I don't know if you've seen it, John. I don't know if you've seen it, but I haven't even seen him compete doing 7-on-7 on 11-on-11 play as of right now either. And I understand he's coming off of not one but two Achilles tear, but I don't think it's much to that signing at all.
I do think that he's going to come on a roll to compete with Dare, Jawar Jordan, some of those guys. I don't think Dameon Pierce's spot is going to be in trouble at all. I just like Akers when he is healthy and on the field based off of the history. He's been very good going back to 2022. He's been very good for the Rams, who also kind of run a similar offense in a way on third down, third and short. Short down when you need to pick up a first, whether it's third and short, second and short. He runs the ball well on short yardage. So I do like that for Houston, and he's a one-cut go running back with some experience in the NFL.
I think that Cam Akers is just a camp body. Yeah. I honestly truly believe he's just a camp body because we don't know what nagging injury that Joe Mixon has right now, and I don't think that they're going to use him a lot in training camp. And so I think Cam Akers is just here. I don't, like you say, I don't see him beating out Dameon Pierce. I don't see. Listen, if we keeping it 100, I don't see him beating out Jawar Jordan. Man, the way Jawar Jordan was hitting that.
And British Bruce.
Bruce has looked very good as well, which is surprising.
Right, and I mean, I don't think he's going to be on special teams where Dare shines. I mean, Dare can kick.
Backup kicker. Yes, sir.
No, I don't think that, like I said, I just think Cam, and nothing against Cam Akers, I just think that he's a camp body.
Big Mex 777. But do we want to go out and spend our money right now, or should we save that money for midseason before the trade deadline? I think that's a great question. Houston has around, I think, $17 million, give or take, in salary cap. I think it'll be smart for Houston to wait maybe until midseason trade deadline. However, I can see them, and I've said this for a long time now, whenever they make those cuts at the end of training camp preseason, they may look to scout the league and see who's out there, scout the league and see who's out there that can help our franchise.
I say spend it now. Go ahead and spin it out. Before the start of training camp, Nick Caserio said that, hey, I'm paraphrasing, but that they were going to use training camp to see which positions that they need to improve and which positions are good. And I'm looking at training camp as of right now, and I'm like, okay, I can definitely see certain positions that probably make Coach D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio say, you know what, with this $18 million, let's just split this and see if we could get somebody to come inside of NRG Stadium and put on for the city one time, because they do have championship aspirations. So, hey.
I can tell you, young Cody, you ain't never had to save money under the mattress. Put your money in your
shoebox.
Nothing. You ain't never had to do none of that.
And y'all talking about a guy that's probably the cheapest one out of this whole entire podcast right now.
That is true.
Old people used to be like, that money burned a hole in your pocket, ain't it? No, listen, Cody. Listen, no. You save the money, especially with the amount of players that they have right now competing for playing time. I mean, there's going to be some players that the Texans cut that are going to get an opportunity to play elsewhere and going to play significant minutes. And so right now they have everything that they need. Now, come like John said, once training camp is over and some of these cuts are made, I think that they may go out. There may be some names on the market that they'll be looking to bring in. But no, as of right now, from what I've seen at training camp, no, just let it play itself out. Yeah.
This is a good one from what y'all have seen in camp. And this is from Ben G. Tom 7563. From what y'all seen at camp, could we use Justin Simmons, or we got enough to go with this in the secondary? And I responded to that on YouTube, and I'm gonna respond to it here. This team could always use Justin Simmons. I think he gives you a deep safety who can cover hash to hash, and that can allow you to do a lot of different things in that front seven. You bring a safety down like Jalen Petrie, who has been performing well at nickel, to kind of, again, create that pressure, whether it be getting after the quarterback or stopping the run.
That's why I say spinning out. And look, at first, I wasn't too all in on the Texans using majority of that money to upgrade that defensive backfield, more so getting somebody like Justin Simmons. However, 6 days after training camp, it seems like Jalen Petrie is going to be your nickel, plain and simple. It's like every single day he spend more and more time at that position. So much so, Sarge, I don't know if you picked this up a couple days ago, but even when they're doing their position drills, their individual position drills, he's no longer with the safety unit. He's with the DBs corners now. He's with the corners. He's with the nickel. So I look at it from a standpoint, look, you look at that safety unit, Jimmy Ward, we always know if he's healthy, you know what you got in him. However, because they've switched Jalen Petrie's position, now they leave somewhat of a vacancy. Kalen Bullock has had moments so far throughout training camp, but if the Texans were to open up the season tomorrow and Jalen Petrie is starting at nickel, and you have somebody like Kalen Bullock starting at, next to Jimmy Ward, I wouldn't be okay with that.
So I'm gonna say this: I hope this doesn't sound bad, but I don't like Muriel Stewart at safety. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't trust them enough to be back there. I don't trust Jimmy Ward being healthy the entire season. And so for me, yes, I say go get Simmons and start Kalen Bullock.
Oh, really?
Yes, because what Bullock brings you is a big athletic corner. Now, he isn't the strongest right now physically. No, he still has a college body. He needs to add more weight.
He's a little slow.
Yeah. But what he is he a ball hawk, and he's a big safety. So what does that do? That makes the quarterback, if you're going to throw deep on him, you're going to have to also throw over his frame. You're going to also
have ready to though, Sarge. Like I can see the potential. Maybe this
is going to be very important for him.
I feel like this will be a conversation we can have next season, but I just don't think he's ready right now, man.
6'3".
Yeah, his size.
So wait, hold on. Not only that, Cody, hold on. I'm going to cut you off. He's 6'3". He's athletic, right? And guess what he has? A physical front seven. So you're going to make that mistake of getting the ball out or trying to get the ball out. He has time to learn. As far as he is off the ball, that quarterback isn't going to have time to dissect. Oh, let me pick on the rookie right here. No, go get Simmons, start Bullock, and let's ride.
I don't think he's ready, man. That's just me. I don't think he's ready.
Even with the pressure?
Even with the pressure, look. I just don't see it as of now. Maybe something might change, like John said, when preseason starts, but I just don't see it right now.
Not with Murray and Stewart. I just don't trust him.
But let me say this: I do like Murray now.
Yeah, because you hated him at one time
as a rotational piece for that unit. Now,
hey John, leave it up to Cody. He won't Lonnie Johnson Jr. to start.
No, he definitely know that ain't the case. No, sir, not me.
Young tweet through it. Texans fans, I want to let you guys know before we close out. You got Titans fans out in the comments talking trash.
Oh Lord,
about what?
So, I don't know. They here. It's football season. That's what they're supposed to do.
They drink mayonnaise in their coffee too.
They possibly do. They possibly do, but it's football season. The trash talking is here, just like Jimmy Ward and Derek Stingley.
Got to deal with that.
Wait, hold on. Talking trash like what though? And then real quickly, I'm just gonna say this: like they're the 4th best team in the AFC South. Who are they talking trash to?
Well, we disagree on that.
What?
I think they are a better team than the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah. But this is Locked On Texans. We can handle that conversation tomorrow when I see you. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment to the Locked On Texans podcast. Sarge, where can our listeners and viewers find all of your amazing work?
You can find me on Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end on the app formerly known as Twitter. You can also find me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. You can find all my articles on www.bigsargemedia.com. You can find me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Big Sarge Media. Go over there. I think that I posted my video of singing my Dolly Parton video, singing "I Will Always Love You." I sounded like Sexy Red. I said, "Ooh, baby."
Oh my goodness. As always, I'm your host, Cody M. Davis. Please remember to follow me on Twitter at Cody Davis _24. Once again, it's Cody COTYDAVIS _24. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.
Cody has a rocket mattress.